Hello, Salem. I want to talk to you today about our practice of prayers of the people that we have in our Sunday morning worship. It's a wonderful time. It's a valued practice by many people, and I like it because it gives us the opportunity for everyone to have a voice in worship, to be involved, to voice their prayer concerns. It involves everyone. However, I believe it must go. I believe we have begun to outgrow it, and I hope that we continue in our growth. And so to continue in that growth, I believe this change must be made. Churches come to us in 4 to 5 sizes. There's the family size of worship, which is 0 to 50 members. And in this size, it's very, very small, very informal. It's very much dependent usually on one particular family, actually, which is a lot of why it's called a family size, but it feels a lot like a family. The next size up from that is the pastoral size, with 51 to 100 in average worship. This size of church depends very heavily upon the work of the pastor in the lives of everyone involved, and for the pastor to carry the bulk of the load for the church to function. The next size beyond that is the program size, with 101 to 400 in worship. This size is very much program driven, with robust children's and youth programs and Bible studies and small groups and mission programs and special outreaches into the community. A lot of stuff that we are currently doing. It depends heavily upon volunteers and staff, not just the pastor, to get the work of the church done. The next size is the corporate size at 401 to 1,000 plus. It's the same type of setup as a program size, just amplified. The size beyond that is the mega church size with 2,000 plus. At the end of 2017, our average worship at Salem was 90 people. We're approaching the very tail end of the pastoral size of church. And we're wanting to move beyond that into the program size of church, which means we're in a transition period. And we will be experiencing some of those growing pains that come along with those transitions. Part of that transition is a change from a prayers of the people time in worship to a pastoral prayer in worship. See, I think this must go because with a prayers of the people time in worship, guests who come to church, we can't retain them very well. We have been here recently, but in the past we haven't. And it's not always going to be that we will. We don't retain guests very well at the program size or the very end of the pastoral size with a element such as prayers of the people, because it helps those guests, that element helps those guests to feel like outsiders. When a guest comes into the worshiping community and names are being lifted up that they don't know, they feel like they don't belong. They feel as an outsider looking in, especially when they don't know the name of the individual, they don't know who that person is, or they don't know what to pray for that individual, because all that is lifted up is a name. Practically speaking, for those of us who have been members of Salem for years, some of the same things hinder us. We may not know what's going on with the individual who's being lifted up. While we may know who that person is, we may not know why they need prayer. It doesn't really do us a lot of good to pray without knowing why. We don't know the specifics of what to pray for. Yes, God will intervene and He knows all and knows what is needed in our prayer requests, but it helps also if we could be more specific. At the same time, we can't always hear those names being voiced aloud throughout the congregation and in the sanctuary. So for that practical reason, I think it's time for it to go. And then sometimes multiple names are lifted up at the exact same time. And so I believe that we need to change it so that we can help our guests feel as if they belong, feel as if they are part of our church community, our worshiping community. So to live into our 5-year strategic plan and our vision to be a diverse church that reaches the lost, hurting, and the least of these in Conway, to continue our pattern of growth, we must change. And sometimes that means changing a piece of our culture, our DNA, something that defines who we are as a community. Doing away with our prayers of the people portion of worship and replacing it with a pastoral prayer is one thing that I believe will help us to reach our goal of growing by 20% each year in worship. Growing not just for the sake of growth, but growing so that we can make an impact for the kingdom of God in our mission field. so that we can reach the lost and the hurting in Conway. We can reach all in Conway for the gospel, so that they can become disciples of Jesus Christ as we make disciples who make disciples to transform the world. That's the reason and the motive behind our growth. Now, if you wish to still share your concerns and in a more personal way, we encourage you to do so. You can join any of our group life groups, be that a small group or a Sunday school class. These groups have a time at the beginning and the end of their meeting together where they share prayer concerns and they pray for one another. This is a perfect time to do that. If that's not a thing that you can do, we encourage you to form your own prayer group. And a great place to meet is here in our prayer chapel located in the education building. Or if you can't meet there, then meet in your home or another member's home or in a coffee shop or wherever. Meet and join together to share your prayer requests, joys, thanksgivings on a personal level and to pray for one another. We do highly encourage that. This is something that we have to change, I believe, if we intend to grow beyond where we're at now with 90 in average worship and a pastoral size, to grow into a program size of worship with 101 and beyond. So to do this change will take place on Sunday, May 20th. That will be the first Sunday for a pastoral prayer, and we will no longer have the prayers of the people in worship. If you have questions or comments, I encourage you to contact me. You can reach out through email, phone calls, stop by the office, whatever is best for you. I want to thank you for all that you do for Salem United Methodist Church and to help us to be a church that's living into our vision to be a diverse church that reaches Conway for Jesus Christ. To spread his love and his grace to all of those who need it, as we make disciples who make disciples that transform the world. Thank you, and have a great day.